Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode, our great deduction taking place in Windibank's pawnbrokers broke down Eggert Benedict, revealing his plans to take the code from Gina Lestrade and raising doubts on his identity, and on completing our correction, the mysterious man pulled a gun on us, demanding the music box disc. However, Inspector Gregson, summoned by Silent Alarm, made the save, arresting this man, but also taking the property that Gina had collected of Magnus McGilded, leading to our retreat to 221B Baker Street, where we are currently asking Iris about her familial relationships. Iris's father is next. I love this music, by the way. I like this theme. I practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy. I mean, it must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed up on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all of those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he's solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. You could say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study so that I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who in the most bizarre of circumstances lost his life just before we left Japan. Miss Susato. Yes? Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you, despite the fact you were ignoring me 2 seconds ago. Ah, Mr. Sholmes! Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Ha. Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madame? Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my! Then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny. Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runa could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting, she could write all of our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. Yes, plausible deniability. Hello, Sholmes. You have the music box disc. I suspected you did. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession, and why is it silver now? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. Wow, you clever boy. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilded's down the yard, thank you very much. Send it over. Oh yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did. But I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this. That's amazing! The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting, the result of a precisely controlled solution. How extraordinary! Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press in its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never worry about high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Okay, do you have a music box? You have a gramophone. Didn't know it's a music box. Do we have to go back to the pawnbrokers? Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea. None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Runo. Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. And over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one! That's Hurley for you. Always taking things too far. I mean, start with Irish ones first. But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Yeah, please no. Magnus? Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash, not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Fries-fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you might be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh, yes. The idea of it is of such a wonderful story, languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom, gathering dust. My dear madame, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting! The Hound of the Baskervilles! I should love to read it. Ah! What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said the Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Runo, the Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said that he'd keep it safe, till it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's. And yet, how could Susie here know his title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? Ah! What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Mr. Strad! This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. No, wait! Mr. Strad! We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Oh yes, just wait there, Guinea. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Mr. Strad. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. Mendelssohn it is then. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome. And Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves, well into the night. In the oddest day ever, because we never even got a case. Well, 9:34 p.m. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine. And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet I can steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Don't do that. Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something? I wonder. What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Ah, the one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends. Ah, Iris, hello again. And Gina too. Yes, Guinea's going to be staying with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Guinea? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh, what? In particular? All those things Guinea showed us. Wasn't it wonderful? Ah, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine! Oh my, however did you... I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Ah, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Guinea? I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Yes, me too. It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Let's talk. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please. All right, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris, not at all. I don't know what this is all about, really, but it's a story you made up, is it, Iris? This manuscript or whatever you call it? It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Guinea, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once. His partner. Eh? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, where's your old man now, then? He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Oh, right. Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Well, you gotta finish off talking about this first. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story, I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts. That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean. Oh, how? I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris. But this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works. I'm not at liberty to say. Not now, so please do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windibank, isn't it? Yes. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's mean, that's what it is. Keeping secrets like that. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Eh? If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. You lot are too trusted for your own good. But he can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. What? Hurley's lying to me. Maybe he is, but maybe it's to protect you. Sometimes that has to happen, right? Now, we were suggested that we speak to Gina, so let's do that. About Gina's parents. I've realized that I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. The East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born. Not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Dumb's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything fine. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never had them, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet them. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. Sholmes is lying. Gina, what did you mean when you said that you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, he reckons he popped that manuscript or whatever, right? Oh, come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. That story was really an old Windibank storeroom. There's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Ah. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ha! Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realised it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? Oh, but I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness, look at the time! Come along, Giddy. We should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning, I insist. Oh yes, please, I can't wait, Susie. Good night then. Iris. Sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult. But deep down, she's still just a child. Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father. But also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. Can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. I guess he fell asleep. Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Naruhodo? That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina! She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out of the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? Wait a minute. Why is there a light on this time of night? That's Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windibank's? Oh no. It's simple. If that story was really an old Windibank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. About telling you. Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, oh no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once. Mr. Zato. The hell is going on? The door to Windibank's, it's open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them. Go! Right. Blast! I've lost them. Hello, what are we here? The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windibank's.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Naruhodo!
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina!
To be continued next time on the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. I'll see you guys then, right? Bye-bye.